Hi, my name is Jacob, and welcome to another segment of Raw and Uncut on the Abrasive Conversations platform. Today, I want to speak about the urination incident that took place at Stellenbosch University. So, I think last weekend, a video started circulating on social media about a white student urinating on the belongings of a black student at Stellenbosch University. And the video went viral, and there was a huge public outcry. Stellenbosch currently expelled the university, not expelled, suspended the student, and there are some students who signed a petition that asking that the student needs to be expelled from the university. So today, I have a different take on the whole issue. And like I said in a previous segment, that I'm tired to speak about the race, but unfortunately this is one of those incidences where you cannot ignore. It's you have to speak about this, because if you're not silent, then you become complicit in a specific crime, or you become complicit in the oppression and the robbing of dignity of someone. So, as we all know, that this is not the first video. A video like this, I think 5 or 8 years ago, made the rounds at the University of Free State, where 4 students peed in the food, I think, of the cleaners at that specific university. I don't know what happened to those students, but I don't imagine that the consequences was as hard as it had for the cleaners who experienced that specific humiliating incident. I also don't believe that this is going to be the last video of this nature. So there's arrogance with which the student did it. He continued urinating while the student was filming it, and he didn't seem distracted or any remorse or anything. It's just the arrogance that is surrounding that specific video. You can see the arrogance there, and I want to speak about that specific arrogance. Where does this arrogance come from? So the fathers later after that video got involved, because the black student at one point said, I will forgive the student, but the black father then said, but you need to make a criminal case against it, because there's larger I think repercussions if this student doesn't go unpunished, because he can go and do it again and expect that people just forgive him. So the central issue here is human dignity. So then the 2 fathers decided that they're going to speak to one another, and this is another example of arrogance that I want to talk about. Is what the white father then said to the black father, or even that, and how it was presented in the media, is like, let's call this reconciliation. And that is where it struck me, that a person, a white person in South Africa, can expect a black father that was humiliated, and his son to be humiliated, to get into talks, but the expectation immediately is reconciliation. So what does reconciliation in South Africa means? Because we already know about the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and the failure of that specific commission. And I think central to the failure of that specific commission is they got reconciliation completely wrong. And I want to enter that specific conversation in a different way. So imagine people who benefit from a specific crime. that they are guilty of that specific crime. For example, if you are part of a group of people who know about the specific break-in, you know the people broke in and they brought that stuff to your house, or you encourage them and you continue using it knowing that that specific crime was happening, then you are just as guilty as the person who broke in and did a crime. You're just as guilty. The courts doesn't see any difference. Interestingly, in 2002, apartheid was declared a crime against humanity, and this is where my critique of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission comes in South Africa, is that can we expect reconciliation without justice? So justice here would be, who are the people who benefited from a crime against humanity? And did they willfully supported that specific crime? And I think the answer to that question is quite obvious. So now, is reconciliation without justice sustainable in South Africa? What would the type of reconciliation look like between this white and black fathers? The discussions that's going to taking place. What is the give and take here? What is the black father getting in return for the humiliation for his particular son? How does that reconciliation work? Because I don't see how this would play in a just manner for the black people who was affected by this particular video. So for me, it's like we need to have a much more open and honest conversation about justice in South Africa and reconciliation, how justice and reconciliation are going hand in hand. Because you want to reconcile a relationship with, so the perpetrator wants to reconcile a relationship with the victim. But if it's done on the terms of the perpetrator, then the victim will never get justice. So there needs to be a fine balance. So this, then the question that I'm leaving in for you to think about and ponder and help me think and contribute to this conversation, is reconciliation without justice in South Africa specifically, is it possible? And how would that justice look like? And then at what point in the future can these two parties then get together and have open and honest discussion about justice and reconciliation in South Africa? How can we reconcile our difference and pass injustices and then plot a future together in South Africa? I don't think reconciliation, and this is my take on it, I don't think reconciliation without justice in South Africa is sustainable. And central to justice in South Africa is the question about land. Colonialism and even apartheid was really a project designed to impoverish black people, and central to that level of impoverishment in South Africa was the question of land. Take the land away from them, make them workers and servants so that they can serve us. So that arrogance that I talked to you about the beginning of this particular segment, that arrogance leads to the notion in white people that every black person is a servant, is there to serve them. And unfortunately, we are not there to serve any of you. We are living in South Africa on equal terms. So that arrogance that you have and that you can go about ordering people, black people around when you see them in the malls, in the store, when you want to ask them about something, all of that is a psychological condition where you see a person that is not white and then you tell them, you think of this person that is there to serve me. We are not there to serve you. We are equal citizens in this particular country. So I think it's time for white people to change their mentality of how they view black people in South Africa. So that's step one for me. First, change your mindset. The second thing that you can do is think about this question about reconciliation. We cannot have a discussion on the reconciliation based on your terms. We need to have a discussion about reconciliation on equal terms. I think South Africans long ago already rejected Cyril Ramaphosa's negotiation of the 1993 Constitution, and many years ago we already rejected the outcomes of the TRC. So those things are not moments that protected our interests in South Africa. It protected the interests of white people in South Africa. And because it protected their interests, they can live with that specific arrogance, and that expectation is that my child can take your child's dignity away, and when I want a conversation about the reconciliation, then we must have that specific conversation. It doesn't work like that. So that's the end of this particular segment. I hope you join in the conversation, and please let me know what you think. Until we see each other next time again, God bless and thank you.